Audible ആണോ? Hi, good evening, ma'am. Hope you are doing well. Hello, audible ആണോ?
ഓഡിബിൾ ആണ് കേൾക്കാം.
ഓക്കെ. അപ്പൊ നമ്മൾ ഇന്നത്തെ ഈ ഒരു സെഷൻ നമ്മൾ മെയിൻ ആയിട്ട് ഒരു ഓറിയന്റേഷൻ സെഷന് പുറമെ നമ്മൾ കുറച്ച് ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ ആൻസറിങ് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ ഡിസ്കഷൻസും കൂടി ആയിട്ടാണ് നമ്മൾ ഇന്നത്തെ ഈ ഒരു സെഷൻ നമ്മൾ മുന്നോട്ട് കൊണ്ടുപോകാൻ ഉദ്ദേശിക്കുന്നത്. പ്രധാനമായിട്ടും UGC നെറ്റിനെ കുറിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ട്. ഹലോ ആരുടെങ്കിലും മൈക്ക് ആണെങ്കിൽ ഒന്ന് മൈക്ക് ഓഫ് ചെയ്യാവോ? യെസ്, ഇപ്പൊ വോയിസ് ക്ലിയർ ആണോ മാം? യെസ്, ഓക്കെ.
കേൾക്കുന്നുണ്ട്.
അപ്പൊ നമ്മൾ ഇന്നത്തെ മെയിൻ ആയിട്ട് ഹലോ
കേൾക്കുന്നുണ്ടോ? ഹലോ,
യെസ്,
കേൾക്കുന്നുണ്ടല്ലോ അല്ലെ?
പേരൊന്ന് റീനെയിം ചെയ്യാവോ?
എന്റെ പേര് വിഷ്ണു എന്നാണ്. അതെ, ഷവോമി കാണുന്നുണ്ട്. പേര് വിഷ്ണു.
റീനെയിം ചെയ്തിട്ടൊന്ന് മ്യൂട്ട് ചെയ്തിട്ടൊന്ന്.
ശരി, ഓക്കെ.
യെസ്, അപ്പൊ നമ്മൾ ഇന്നത്തെ ഈ ഒരു സെഷനിൽ പ്രധാനമായിട്ടും നമ്മൾ എയിം ചെയ്യുന്നത് UGC നെറ്റിനെ കുറിച്ചിട്ടും അതുപോലെ തന്നെ JRF കുറിച്ചിട്ടും ഒരു ഐഡിയ തരാം. അതുപോലെ തന്നെ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് എങ്ങനെയൊക്കെ ഈ ഒരു എൻട്രൻസ് എക്സാമിനെ കുറിച്ചിട്ട് എങ്ങനെയൊക്കെയാണ് നമുക്ക് ഇത് ക്രാക്ക് ചെയ്യാനുള്ള സാധ്യതകളൊക്കെ എങ്ങനെയാണ്, അതുപോലെ തന്നെ ആഫ്റ്റർ ദ സക്സസ്ഫുൾ ക്രാക്കിംഗ് ഓഫ് UGC നെറ്റ് വാട്ട് ആർ ദ ബെനിഫിറ്റ്സ് ആർ ദെയർ, അങ്ങനെയുള്ള ഒരുപാട് കാര്യങ്ങളാണ് നമ്മൾ ഇന്നത്തെ സെഷനിൽ നമ്മൾ പ്ലാൻ ചെയ്തിരിക്കുന്നത്. അത് കൂടാതെ എങ്ങനെയാണ് നിങ്ങൾക്ക് നിങ്ങളുടെ ഇപ്പോൾ MPhil എൻട്രൻസിനൊക്കെ എയിം ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ടെന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ഇതുപോലത്തുള്ള കോമ്പറ്റേറ്റീവ് എക്സാമിനേഷൻ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് എങ്ങനെ ഈ ഒരു UGC നെറ്റ് എക്സാമും അതുപോലെ തന്നെ MPhil എക്സാംസുകളും എങ്ങനെ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഒരുമിച്ച് കൊണ്ടുപോകാം, അങ്ങനെയുള്ള രൂപത്തിലുള്ള ഒന്ന് രണ്ട് കാര്യങ്ങളാണ് നമ്മൾ ഇന്നത്തെ ഈ ഒരു സെഷന് നമ്മൾ മെയിൻ ആയിട്ട് എയിം ചെയ്യുന്നത്, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഇന്നത്തെ ഹൈജിയുടെ ഈ ഒരു സെഷൻ കൊണ്ട് നമ്മൾ മെയിനത്തെ ഗോൾ എന്നുള്ളത്. ആദ്യം തന്നെ നമ്മൾ എൻ്റെ പേര് സഹൽ രാജി. ഐ എം ദ ഡയറക്ടർ ഓഫ് ഹൈജി എജു ക്യാമ്പസ്. ഹൈജി എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് നമ്മുടെ കേരള ബേസ് ചെയ്തിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു ഇൻസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷൻ ആണ്. നമ്മൾ മെയിൻ ആയിട്ടും പല രൂപത്തിലുള്ള കോമ്പറ്റേറ്റീവ് എക്സാമിനേഷന്റെ കോച്ചിങ് പ്രൊവൈഡ് ചെയ്യുന്ന ഒരു ഇൻസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷൻ ആണ്. പ്രധാനമായിട്ടും സൈക്കോളജി എയിം ചെയ്തിട്ടുള്ള പ്രോഗ്രാംസുകളാണ് ഹൈജി പ്രൊവൈഡ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. നമുക്ക് UGC നെറ്റ് കോച്ചിങ് സൈക്കോളജി കൂടാതെ നമുക്ക് സൈക്കോളജി PG എൻട്രൻസ് അങ്ങനെയുള്ള വ്യത്യസ്ത പ്രോഗ്രാംസുകളും കൂടി ഹൈജി പ്രൊവൈഡ് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്. അതുകൊണ്ട് നമ്മുടെ ഇന്നത്തെ ഈ ഒരു പ്രോഗ്രാമിന്റെ ലക്ഷ്യം നമ്മൾ ഓൾറെഡി പറഞ്ഞു. അതുപോലെ തന്നെ നമ്മൾ ഇന്നത്തെ ഹോസ്റ്റ് ആയിട്ട് വന്നിരിക്കുക അല്ലെങ്കിൽ നമ്മുടെ ഫാക്കൽറ്റി ആയിട്ട് വന്നിരിക്കുന്നത് നമ്മുടെ തന്നെ ഹൈജിയുടെ കോർ മെമ്പർ കൂടി ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു ഹിന്ദു മാം ആണ്. നമ്മൾ ഇതിനു മുമ്പ് ഒരുപാട് തവണ നമ്മുടെ കുട്ടികൾക്ക് ക്ലാസ് എടുക്കുകയും അതുപോലെ തന്നെ ഗൈഡ് ചെയ്യുവാനും നമുക്ക് എപ്പോഴും നമ്മുടെ കൂടെ ഉണ്ടാവുന്ന ഒരു ഫാക്കൽറ്റി മെമ്പർ കൂടിയാണ് ഹിന്ദു മാം. അപ്പൊ ഹിന്ദു മാം PG കംപ്ലീറ്റ് ചെയ്തിരിക്കുന്നത് അണ്ണാമലൈ യൂണിവേഴ്സിറ്റിയിലാണ്. ആഫ്റ്റർ ദാറ്റ് സക്സസ്ഫുൾ PGയുടെ പഠനത്തോട് കൂടെ തന്നെ ആള് നെറ്റ് ക്രാക്ക് ചെയ്യുകയും ആഫ്റ്റർ ദ PG ഗ്രാജുവേഷൻ ആള് 1 ഇയർ ആസ് എ അസിസ്റ്റന്റ് പ്രൊഫസർ ആയിട്ട് വർക്ക് ചെയ്യുകയും അതിനുശേഷം MPhil എൻട്രൻസ് നിംഹാൻസിൽ ക്രാക്ക് ചെയ്യുകയും അതിനുശേഷം നിംഹാൻസിൽ ഇപ്പൊ കംപ്ലീറ്റ് ചെയ്തു. MPhil ഇൻ ക്ലിനിക്കൽ സൈക്കോളജി കംപ്ലീറ്റ് ചെയ്തു. ഇപ്പൊ ആസ് എ ക്ലിനിക്കൽ സൈക്കോളജിസ്റ്റ് ആയിട്ട് വർക്ക് ചെയ്തുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുകയാണ്. ഇപ്പം ആള് റീസെന്റ് ആയിട്ട് തന്നെ JRF കൂടി ഇപ്പൊ ക്രാക്ക് ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ട്. അപ്പോ മാമിന്റെ ഈ 1 അവർ സെഷനിലൂടെ മെയിൻ ആയിട്ട് മാമിന്റെ ഒരു എക്സ്പീരിയൻസും അതുപോലെ തന്നെ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഇനി മുന്നോട്ട് എങ്ങനെയൊക്കെ പ്രിപ്പയർ ചെയ്യാം, അതുപോലെ തന്നെ എന്തൊക്കെയാണ് നമ്മൾ എന്തൊക്കെയാണ് പ്രിപ്പറേഷൻസുകൾ നമ്മൾ കാര്യമായിട്ട് ശ്രദ്ധിക്കേണ്ടത്, അങ്ങനെയുള്ള കാര്യങ്ങളായിരിക്കും നമ്മൾ ഈ ഒരു 1 അവർ കൊണ്ട് നിങ്ങൾക്ക് പറഞ്ഞു തരാൻ നമ്മൾ എയിം ചെയ്യുന്നത്. തീർച്ചയായിട്ടും നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഈ ഒരു മണിക്കൂർ ഇവിടെ സ്പെൻഡ് ചെയ്ത് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് തീർച്ചയായിട്ടും അതൊരു ലോസ് ആയിട്ട് ഉള്ള ഒരു ടൈം ആവില്ല എന്നാണ് നമ്മുടെ വിശ്വാസം. തീർച്ചയായിട്ടും നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഭാവിയിലേക്ക് വളരെയധികം ബെനിഫിറ്റഡ് ആയിട്ട് രൂപത്തിൽ ഉണ്ടാവും എന്ന് തന്നെയാണ് വിശ്വസിക്കുന്നത്. കാരണം ഈ ഒരു UGC നെറ്റ് എക്സാമിനേഷൻ എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് വളരെ കോമ്പറ്റേറ്റീവ് മൈൻഡോട് കൂടെ നമ്മൾ അപ്രോച്ച് ചെയ്യേണ്ട ഒരു എക്സാമിനേഷൻ ആണ്. അത് എങ്ങനെയാണ് നമുക്ക് എത്രത്തോളം ആ കോമ്പറ്റേറ്റീവ് സ്പിരിറ്റ് നഷ്ടപ്പെടാതെ നമ്മൾ എത്രത്തോളം എങ്ങനെയാണ് അത് മാനേജ് ചെയ്യുക എന്നുള്ളതൊക്കെ ആയിരിക്കും നമ്മൾ ഇന്നത്തെ ഈ ഒരു സെഷൻ കൊണ്ട് നമ്മൾ മെയിൻ ആയിട്ട് എയിം ചെയ്തത്. അപ്പോൾ വെൽക്കം മാം. ഞാൻ കൂടുതൽ ദീർഘിപ്പിക്കുന്നില്ല, നിങ്ങളുടെ മാമിനെയാണ് വെയിറ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നത് അറിയാം. അപ്പൊ എന്തായാലും ഞാൻ മൈക്ക് മാമിന് ഹാൻഡ് ഓവർ ചെയ്യാണ്. ഹായ്, ഗുഡ് ഈവനിങ് മാം.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for
Hi,
the.
good evening, ma'am.
Hello.
Yes.
Can everyone please mute your mic? Yeah. Yeah. So, good evening. Thank you so much for the introduction, Sahil. Hope my audio is clear.
Yes, ma'am. All clear.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. So I'll just, yeah, already they have introduced me. So as he said, I'm Hind. I'm a clinical psychologist by profession. I have completed my MPhil from NIMHANS Bangalore. Recently, I've cleared JRF also. So, currently I'm practicing as a clinical psychologist, but meantime, JRF also play a very major role right now for me to kind of, take my future ahead. So, before that, I think the medium of instruction will be mostly English, because I think we have a very we have a multi population today, so we might be leading it in English. Yeah, so I'll share my screen here. Yeah, before that, so when we say about this UGC net preparation, and the topic itself was my journey to JRF. So I think like rather than giving you a very theoretical picture about how net or what net or JRF is, I think I really would like to take you through the journey of my JRF journey, or how I how I gone through, or how I reached to JRF. Probably I'll just give you a very a brief introduction about net JRF, and we'll go to the interactive session after that. So I'll share my screen over here. Okay, is it visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay, 1 second. Okay, yeah. Fine. So, yeah, I really would like to start with this quote that, that always fueled me throughout my journey, that, future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of dreams. And I think we all have the ability to dream, and we all should dream very high, or, every time we see that people have a tendency to kind of settle for very less, or something very less. I always believe that when you have the ability to dream big, you always achieve that, or you work for that. So I don't know, when I was thinking about preparing for today, the first thing that came to my mind was actually the quote that that always fueled me. Like, see, might be before few years I was also a spectator like you. I was also attended few of the workshops, few of the orientation sessions, many other faculties who's there presently. But at that point of time, I think I had the courage to dream something big, and right now, that's the result of me being here today. So I think I really would like to start with this quote, and I really kind of expect every one of you to kind of dream big. And JRF is not something that you have to keep it as a high point. It's like when you are thorough with the subject, it's something that will come along, or I think you will gradually be able to get through that. And so I will be talking about UGC net JRF, how the exam structure is, like what is the qualification criteria and the syllabus. Don't worry, I'll not be going very in depth about that, because that's something that everyone is mostly aware of. And we'll talk about what kind of or some of the tips that I followed for my preparation, and how is it related to MPhil entrance, because many of you, I know that like we can see that like 80% of people after your MSc, I mean, after your post graduation, most of them are basically kind of aiming for clinical psychology, especially an MPhil. So might be I think this will help you also to kind of prepare yourself along with JRF. That will also give you a picture about how to go about MPhil. And I think most of you are aware that JRF is something like you have a reservation for, or you have a JRF quota in many of the like institutions. So clearing JRF will kind of open a gate towards MPhil entrance, and also the opportunities. mostly, how you can benefit yourself with this JRF in research, teaching, as well as other areas. Yeah. I think some of your mic is unmuted. Can you please mute yourself? Yeah. So, I think most of you are aware about the fact that this Junior Research Fellowship, we abbreviate it as JRF, or the National Eligibility Test, is basically a step to teaching and research. So when you want to kind of, after your masters, you want to get into teaching, and the first thing that people will ask for is, are you a NET qualified person? So, most of the time, what we do is during our initial phases of our masters itself, we start preparing for NET, so that by the end of by the end of 2 years, you will have NET in your hand, and you will be easily selected. You will be easily selected for many of the teaching positions, especially in prestigious institutions. And when it comes to research, exactly, you need to have a JRF in your hand. So that will give you an extra benefit in terms of getting into many prestigious organizations. Apart from that, it will give you a I think again some of your mic is unmuted. Can you please mute yourself? Yeah, thank you. So yeah, so as I was saying, NET will be kind of gear you towards this teaching, and JRF will kind of help you towards better research arena. And I think when we say NET to JRF, as you all know, it's one of the very competitive exam in our country, and it's an achievement test, as you all aware of. So when we say it's a competitive exam, it's that competitive that only 6% of the total people will qualify for NET. And I mean, only 6% of those who have qualified the exam or eligible, who got eligible for the, only 6% of people who kind of, acquired at least 40% of marks will be eligible for NET, and only 1% among that will be eligible for JRF. So that competitive the exam is. So when we see that when there are 2 cycles in a year, June and December, and altogether 12% of people are only 12% of people are actually clearing NET, and that is very scarce. So you can see the competitiveness of this exam, and there is a lot of shift that you can see presently in the examination pattern also. So I'll be talking about that too later. Moving on. So you might be knowing that most of the time where you will see UGC, NET, NTA, the most of the time you will see UGC, NTA, NET, JRF examination. So till 2018 December, it was conducted. I mean, NET JRF was conducted by University Grant Commission, that is UGC. Currently, it's being conducted by NTA, and NTA is National Testing Agency. It's one of the premier testing agency of our country that is under Ministry of Education. And it will give you a lot of opportunities, or it will kind of open your opportunities towards all the teaching and research in Indian universities and colleges. And when we look at the structure and mode, mostly I'll just brief it, or I'll just skim through it, and that at least PG with 55% of marks, that too for general, but for other backward categories it's 50%. And people who was currently awaiting the results, or who's currently perusing PG, can actually write, and it's your results should be out after at least by 2 years of the issue of the result. That's all. So there are 81 subjects in which this NTA conducts NET for, and there are 263 centers in India. And from December 2018, it's computer based. Before that, it was paper pencil. Currently, it goes as computer based test, and it happens in twice in a year. You might be aware of all these things. I really don't want to take a lot of time about this. And age, yes. So JRF is 30 years for general category, but there are relaxation of 5 years for other backward category, OBC, SC, ST, and EWS, etc., PWD, etc. So there is no number of there is no limits in the number of attempts that you can write for JRF. Till 30 years of age, you can write JRF for NET. And NET doesn't have any expiry date as such, but JRF has. JRF has 3 years of expiry date from the issue of the letter, and NET is when you qualify NET once, it's like a lifelong achievement that it will always be there. So when you look at the exam pattern, it's very you might be knowing it. It's just 100 questions. 100 questions of paper 2 and 50 questions of paper 1. That is general aptitude and testing will be just 50 questions, and each question will carry 2 marks. And psychology paper is like 100 questions, and each question will carry 2 marks. And altogether you will get 3 hours, and you need practice here for the time management. That's all. So yeah, so again, paper 1 is mostly about 50 questions, and there are 10 areas, and they'll ask you 5 questions from each section. Like there will be questions about teaching aptitude, research aptitude, like they will be giving you a passage and they'll ask you about the comprehension, communication, so like logical reasoning, data interpretation, IT related questions, higher education. So all these questions are basically to test your teaching aptitude, teaching and research aptitude. And apart from this, you have a paper 2, which is your core paper. So today we'll be talking about psychology paper here. So we have 10 units, and you might have learned all these chapters actually in your 5 years of UG PG. It's very clear that when you look at the syllabus itself, that when you like, I feel like I haven't gone for any preparation initially during my first attempt of net. So where like it was just that I was thorough with my subject. So I think when you are thorough with, or when you start your preparation from the base or from the foundation, we say that it's very easy for you to clear. So it's not about reading, it's about basically studying. And when you look at yeah, so people say that, I mean, initially we have seen that like minimum 40% of mark in both the subjects is necessary for general, and 35% for unreserved, sorry, for reserved. But currently, right now, I was going through the NTA website, but I was not able to see this. So I'm not very sure how much marks are they expecting. But here altogether, it's out of 150 questions out of 300. So each question will carry 2 marks, and it's out of 300. So it's altogether how much you score that will make a difference. It's not like this much of this much of and like scores you should have in paper 1 and this much you should get in paper 2. It's not like that. Altogether you will have 300 marks, and out of which they'll have a cutoff. So you need to prepare for both the paper. I mean like both the paper are so important that you are learning this paper 2. I mean, for example, if it's psychology paper, you're learning that paper for 5 years. So you might be knowing a lot of things about it, but paper 2, paper 1 is where this teaching and research aptitude is mostly new to us, and most of the time we will not spend much time to it. But I think the trick is where, when you prepare yourself with paper 1 also in a better way, at least, 30 questions that you are very clear with. So the chances of you clearing JRF is very high, because we always compromise at paper 1 and we do give much priority to paper 2. So I think the most of the time what we have to do is we have to give equal priority to both. But I think paper 1 is somewhere you can easily score, and you can easily prepare also. As I already told you, so every time in every year there are 2 times, like there are 2 cycles, like in June also as well as in December, net exam happens. And what happens is that out of that only few people will get eligible, but all the eligible people will not be qualified for net. For example, I said no, like for example, if you have kind of 40% mark like in both the papers together, then you are you are kind of in the eligible criteria, but still you might not be able to get net. But still, out of this 40% marks that the whole population have got, no, from that only 6% will be qualified for net, and from the 6% only 1% will be qualified for JRF. So when you look at it, it's like very few, might be less than hundreds, or depends for each subject. Looking at the opportunities and challenges, it's very known, teaching, research, and other jobs in public undertaking. And a few things that I wanted to kind of emphasize here is that research. So when you look at research, when I say MPhil, what happens is that MPhil is a research, like where it's a kind of research degree, but this MPhil in clinical psychology is not a research degree. I mean, as a research degree, it's a clinical degree. So what happens is that when you have a JRF, you are kind of an exempted category. Still, in many institutions, you might have to write exams, but still you have a different quota, JRF quota, like few seats will be reserved for that. So your chances of getting into that is very easy. Somewhere else, like for example, if you're seeking for a PhD admission, exactly, it's a a research degree. So especially in IIM, IIT and all that, you don't have to write the entrance. Directly you can go for the interview. And also when you study, like, in the MPhil or in the PhD years itself, you will get like in the initial 2 years, they'll pay you like 37,000 per month. Actually, this has increased. Initially it was 31. Right now they have increased like to 37,000. Plus yearly they'll give you a 10,000 contingency. And after 2 years, you will get an SRF, Senior Research Fellowship. So altogether, if you clear this JRF, you will get a fund of, fund for your research for 5 years. So initially for 2 years, we call it as JRF. And after that, we call it as Senior Research Fellowship. That is SRF, where they'll pay like 42,000 per month, plus 20,500 contingency. And they'll also give you a HRA of 3 years. HRA is house rent allowance. Okay, for JRF also, they do provide HRA. And after that, so when you have net, I mean, when you don't have JRF, and when you have net also, there are few institutions that kind of, take you directly for the interview, but I'm not very aware of that. But, and you get a monthly stipend again in central universities, like 8,000 per month if you have a net. And for PhD, it's 8,000, and for MPhil, it's 5,000. I'm not very aware of that actually. But still, yeah, for the JRF holders, yes, we are sure that. Then in terms of teaching, yeah, so teaching, like when you have a net, you can go to any university. So recently you might have seen that, PhD is not a minimum qualification right now. Like initially it was like, PhD was a minimal PhD. Right now it's like PhD or net can be taken as a minimum qualification. You can go to government college, you go to universities also, private university colleges, everywhere, and if you have a JRF, you will get additional marks also. So, and this is something like, career options in this public sector undertaking that I think I really wanted to mention it here, because like many of us, like even like, I was also very unaware about this, but when I was going through, like we can see that when you qualify this UGC net or JRF, a lot of prestigious like public sector undertakings will kind of, like take you for their jobs in, for example, like, institutions like Indian Oil Corporation, Bharat Heavy and all that. So you can see like, a lot of public sectors also have openings for this net aspirants. Yeah. Okay. So moving on to the preparation. So yeah. So this is all about the theoretical aspects of net, JRF and all that. I'm not going to talk about that here after. So here now I'm talking about the preparation. So first thing, know about the exam pattern that we were talking about right now. So it's nothing. It's just, yearly twice there will be an exam. It's based on 2 papers, paper 1 and paper 2, and you will write about research and aptitude and teaching aptitude in paper 1 and psychology in paper 2. And when you be able to answer most of the questions, you will be able to clear it. And the only thing that you have to do, one is go through the entire syllabus. They have a very clear-cut syllabus that UGC or NTA had given us. Like you can find it in the website. The syllabus is published there. So go through the syllabus, entire syllabus, and so when we look at the preparation strategy, what I'll say is time management is very important. At least a minimum of 3 months is needed for a better preparation if you are completely new to it. Otherwise, I'll say like, if you have a thorough base from your UG or your PG, like, you might not be needing that much time also, because like you might need a little bit more time for research and teaching aptitude. Apart from that, I think if you can give at least 3 months time, I think that's well enough for you to kind of clear the exam. And going through the entire syllabus and, kind of preparing notes for that is very important, I would say, because like when you see the entire syllabus, you should be able to make a study plan for that. So when we make a study plan, it's about, what are the syllabus, like what are the topics and how much time you have for these, each syllabus, I mean, each topic. And out of the 3 months that I've told you, like, how much time you can give for each chapter. And if you could give each chapter this much of time, how much time you can give for the practice of questions, and gradually preparing study notes along with, reading it. So what I'll say is, see, it's very easy for us to go through the syllabus, read through it. But, according to me, like I'm just talking about my preparation strategy, and most of us used to say that, yeah, it do help. So, I mean, it does help. So I think having a study plan is very important. Like, out of 3 months, how much time I'll give for paper 1, how much time I'll give for paper 2, or am I going for any coaching? If I'm going for any coaching, how much time I'll spend for that? And like will I be able to kind of carry out few questions or previous year question papers. So it should all go hand in hand. Along with that, when you make a study plan, you should be able to prepare study notes. So study notes will kind of give you a very will help you in visual recalling. We say that audio recalling also is important, but visual recalling is more easier. So when you make notes and learn, your kind of entire brain will kind of wired in a way that will help you in better recalling. So preparing study notes is also very important. And apart from that, solving previous year papers, because we can see that when you look at previous year question papers, we can see that many of the questions are repeated. So when you practice these previous year question papers through a online mock test, or if you have the opportunity for an online mock test, well and good, because many people may not be very good at computer based tests, because I was a very hard copy person. I'm very poor at soft, like for example computer based exam, I was very poor. So for some people might be taking a mock test will give you a better picture about how to go about exam in that limited period of time. For example, in 3 hours, and you'll have to answer 180 questions, and it's not very easy also. And the last one is obviously revision is the key. When we say revision is the key, so you go through the syllabus, you make a study plan, you start preparing notes. So once that will go in your brain, again, you come back to it, you revise it, you practice it. That's how it kind of, get into your mind. And I'll say, like, it's not about reading a paper. Basically, it's about studying a paper. Reading and studying is completely different. It's not about reading everything. It's about, you read it, you rationally able to answer the questions in a way that, when you get a question, it's not about you kind of, by heart it, or kind of vomit it over there. It's about, how, like, they are testing whether you are able to understand the concepts in a very abstract way, and, like whether you are able to comprehend it, and whether you are able to present it. That's all. Moving on. Yeah. So this is something which I really wanted to mention, because I think my first net attempt was in 2018 December, and yeah, if I'm not wrong, 2018 December, and that was the last paper pencil test of UGC net. Because after that NTA took up, no. So and from that we can see, like, from 2019, 2020, 2021, the level of difficulty was very high. After NTA started taking, computer based examination, the net level was, the net JRF exam level was very high. But recently, in the last 2 years, like, in the last 1 year, I think in the last 3 cycles, probably like June, last December, like many people were saying that, exams are getting very easy. The questions are very basic, questions are very easy, but sometimes very confusing also, obviously expected. But questions, there is a shift in this difficulty level. At the same time, there is a peak in the cutoff also. For example, I do remember, like, like when I was, I think in 2018 or something, the cutoff was like for net was 154, like something of those kind, like 156 or something. But right now, when you look at it, I think it had gone to somewhere around 194. See, or for yeah, 194 to other backward category 176. So 154 to 176 is actually a greater cutoff. So this is the subject-wise cutoff June 2023 examination, where you can see that the cutoff is 216 for general and 194 for JRF. So for general, JRF is 216, and for a net it's 194. So when you acquire 194 marks, and you are in a general category or any other category, because 194 is the highest one, so you get net over there. But when you get 216, you will clear for JRF. So that's what I'm trying to say, is that there is a very great shift currently happened in the net JRF difficulty level. And I think questions being very easy right now. So if you be able to, like, there were times, like, few people used to say, like, when we read the question, we don't even understand what they're asking, because the difficulty level was so high. But right now, I think the difficulty level had come down, but the cutoff had gone really high. So like, now your aim should be, like, if the question is easy, I think you should score more marks then, because the competition also will be high. So you can see that the psychology cutoff is actually very high compared to other subjects. So it's like 216, and see 200 and all was like when you look at when you look at out of 300 marks, when a person is able to clear 200, so you can look at the percentage. It's like So it's like 72% more than 72 is like, very high. Initially it was 63. Right now you need to score at least 72%. So, but it's okay. Like, the difficulty level is very less, I think. So you might be able to score also more. Moving on, I think the books for paper one that I have referred for my preparation time was basically these two. I really like these books. In the sense, the first one, this Pearson one, it's a very good, like, you will be able to practice a lot of questions, and they'll give you like, they will be having notes about each sections of the syllabus, and they'll have questions, or the few questions. But the other one, they have like 36 question papers. Like, I have actually practiced few of the question papers, and I've seen that when you practice few of the question paper, you will be able to understand the pattern of questions, and like, you will be able to understand, like, how the questions are repeated in a similar way, and you will be able to tackle that. So I think these two books I'll prefer for paper one. And when you look at paper two, see, paper two, I will not tell you, like, you go read this book and you get into paper two. It's not like that. I will not say that these two books will only help you for paper two. It's not like that. You need to know the basic of all the subjects that you have learned from Morgan or Robert Barron, general psychology to social psychology to abnormal to lifespan to research to whatnot. Yeah. So I'll not tell you, like, if you read these two big books, you will be able to clear paper two, but still it will give you a better picture about what to read. That's all. But at the end of the day, it's about how you were able to or how you kind of understood the concepts of psychology from your UG, and if you were able to kind of upgrade it during your PG, that's actually enough. Yeah. So one thing that I really would like to add here is, I'm getting a lot of questions from people like, can you give us some tips for the preparation of MPhil? Because if you clear JRF also, like, your next plan, for most of you, the next plan would be like MPhil. So when you go to MPhil with JRF, you have a stipend also more than the institution. For example, NIMANS do provide 25,000 K per month during your MPhil journey. So, but when you have a JRF, they'll give you like 57,000 plus house rent allowance also been there. Like, so somewhere comes around like 59, 40, 43 also sometimes according to the city. So I think, clearing the JRF will give you will kind of gear you towards MPhil. Or I'll say, like, you prepare for either net JRF or your MPhil if you are kind of, aspiring for that. In turn, everything will kind of open up, I feel. So these are the books that I'll prefer for preparation for NIMHANS. One will be Dennis Kuhn, General Psychology, Morgan and King, Cicerelli and Mayer, General Psychology. Then when you look at abnormal psychology, it's Carlson and Butcher, Abnormal Psychology, or David H. Barlow. And you should be able to have a better idea about Stati and research. S.K. Mangal is also a very good book of research methodology. Then developmental psychology, Laura Burke. Then psychiatry, Neeraj Ahuja, and social psychology, Arun Kumar. So there are a lot of other books also that would be helpful. For example, when you look at MPhil, they expect you to know about psychological assessment. So basically, you should have an idea about testing and all that. So if anybody wants to get any of these books or any other guidance, you can just mail me. I've given my mail at the end. You can mail me and get that. Yeah. So moving on. See, I just wanted to show you the practice questions of current psychology paper. So this is like, very direct questions they have been asking for the last 2 years, last 2 cycles, we feel. Like these kind of questions are mostly asked. I don't think I have to explain the questions, but still learning of fear. So it's about, that in learning there are different kind of conditioning happens, and it's just about, again, they're asking about application here. How does a fear, like how does a person learn fears? For example, you get fear about snake. How does that happen? So those kind of questions are mostly being asked. Like these are the basic things that you learn in developmental psychology, the stages of Erik Erikson. So they're just asking you to put it in the correct order, or this is an ROC indicating this is an attention curve. So these kind of direct questions are mostly being asked, and we are not aiming right now to practice you questions. We were just trying to give you a brief about how to prepare for your journey. Yeah. So again, I would say, like, um, see, many people might have cleared their net in the first attempt, but JRF would be like, very hard to get. For me also, like, when I got into MPhil, I was not like, literally trying for JRF. Like, I was like, okay, I have time. Let me complete my MPhil, and after that I'll go for it. But it's not like that. Like, when you have JRF, your opportunities will open up. And I think, like, you keep on you keep on working about it or dreaming about it, and I think in turn you will work on it, and hard work never disappoints you. And only thing that I would say is you need to be consistent about your preparation, and if you want something, you need to be consistent about it. Then I think obviously the door will open to you, at the forefront. So I think I'll stop my presentation here, and I'll open this for the discussion. Yeah.
If you have any questions, you can ask it. Is the right time for the Q&A sessions? So you can ask it any questions. Either
See,
in
if you have difficulty, if you have difficulty with English, you can ask me in Malayalam, or you can just put it up in the chat also.
You can also.
Okay, how many attempts? Okay, so it's very subjective. How many attempts did I give? So I have cleared my net in my PG first year. PG first year, like, I was not even joined. Like, so I have cleared in 2018. So it was my PG first year. So net I have qualified, but still I haven't studied for paper one. So how I cleared my paper, net in my first attempt probably was that I was preparing for UPSC. So I have just gone through teaching and research aptitude at some point, and somewhere, that helped me, I would say. Like, yeah. So my net was first attempt. Second attempt, then with that confidence I went, but I didn't study for paper one. But when I give a try for paper one, JRF was very easy. And I think my MPhil also had kind of, upgraded my knowledge level. That might also be a reason for clearing JRF. JRF was very recent. Yeah. I haven't given JRF exam for the last 2 years, and recently I've given and I could clear. Yeah. Because I was busy with my MPhil preparation. Yeah. Okay. So I have a question here. How is MPhil different from PhD? So yeah, so you might be aware about national education policy, where before MPhil as well as PhD was a research degree, but right now national education policy have taken out or discontinued MPhil. So our MPhil is not given by, or MPhil in clinical psychology is not given by. So what I was saying was that our MPhil in clinical psychology is not given by UGC. It's actually given by Rehabilitation Council of India. So basically, this course is not going to get discontinued. They might rename it. The name might change soon. PhD is a research degree that might take 3 to 5 years of time, and it's about getting a doctorate degree, and you are kind of researching in a particular area for a long time. MPhil in clinical psychology is about, it's a clinical degree where you will get 2 years of intensive experiences in clinical arena, especially about dealing with psychiatric patients, in terms of therapy and all that. Yeah. So I think I have a few questions in the chat. Wait, I'll just go through. Do we need to read all these books word to word, or only the important parts? Yeah. So I think you need to read thoroughly. I will not, like, I think you need to read these books word to word, because I'm a person who actually likes to go in such a way. But it's not about reading only the important parts. Nothing is a waste, I feel like. When you are able to read the entire book, it's not that you are okay, I understand that you might not have a lot of time, but still reading important parts, if you are okay with that, it's fine. But I always prefer you to read a book thoroughly. And it's not like you need to read all these books. If you could read at least one book of general psychology thoroughly, that would be enough. And gradually, when you read the other book, you will be like, okay, I know this. You jump from one to other. Is there any entrance exam for MPhil? Of course, we do entrance exam. There is no MPhil seats without entrance exam, especially government seats. And we have a very tough competition for MPhil clinical psychology right now. In NIMHANS, it's like this time there were 1,800 students were competing for 32 seats. So you can see even MD psychiatry, number of people who are giving MD psychiatry was also very less. I can't find the answer. When I'm trying to answer, I can't find the answer in options which I guess, so I'm choosing randomly. How to tackle this? So I think, practicing MCQ is a very important key. So one thing I'll tell you, what I did for my MPhil as well as for my JRF preparation was that you take 100 questions. Please don't check for the answers. You just start, just attending as a question paper. Like, you sit with 100 questions, you start answering it. After answering those 100 questions, uh, you kind of, okay, I'm getting deviated with the questions. Yeah. So what I was saying is that you take 100 questions, you sit with that, you kind of, answer those 100 questions. And after that, when you answer it, and after answering all these 100 questions, you take out the answer sheet and you mark it, whether is it right or not. If the questions are going wrong, see how the questions are going wrong. Is that because you are not aware about the subject? Is that because you are making random silly mistake? Is that because you are not giving much attention to the question? So after that, you will get an idea. Okay, so this is why. One thing might be I'm not much well into the subject, that's why I'm making a lot of error. Number two might be I'm making a lot of silly mistakes. So here comes the importance of practice. And when you gradually practice and when you give a thought about it, this we IG have a lot of mock tests and all that, so which will give you an idea about what kind of errors you make, and that's how you can reduce the uh, mistakes. So there is no negative marking for net and JRF. Good enough. No, there is no negative marks for net and JRF, but MPhil exams do have. So scoring criteria about net will be like, I said each questions will carry 2 marks and there are 150 questions. So altogether 300 marks. There is no cutoff like every time this much of cutoff. It's not like fixed cutoff. It's like, every year according to the difficulty level and the performance, the cutoff will go here and there. Right now they are expecting like, this time 194 was net and 216 for JRF. So that much of marks they have expected, like 72%. Yeah, so I have a question about how did I prepare for NIMHANS? How did I prepare for NIMHANS? NIMHANS was not an easy journey. As I told you initially, like, I do really dream, like, when I was thinking about my MPhil was a dream of mine from a very, very early time. Like, when I didn't even know what is clinical psychology or what is MPhil, I dreamed of being a clinical psychologist. So that was my passion. And the only place that I wanted to do my MPhil was NIMHANS. And, I have given, I have cleared my NIMHANS in my second attempt. Because I really wanted to do my MPhil in a premier institute where I get a better, training, better supervision. And the brand tag is also like, obviously it's my alma mater. And the training you get there is fabulous. And, I always wanted to be there and I have never settled for anything less. And I'm very happy for that. I'm very proud about that because, there were places like, I couldn't clear, like I have not given much attempts for MPhil in any other institute because my, my plan was always NIMHANS. And obviously I couldn't clear in my first attempt. So like I have also gone through what is failure and, I have questioned my own self. I've changed my preparation strategy and my journey was also not very, like it didn't go very like, uh, soft, I would say. But still, I said I was not ready to settle for anything less, and I believed in myself. So I think I gave you answer for that question. Then I have another questions about how was MPhil journey. Like MPhil journey was like that 2 years you give for the people around, you give for your clinical skills. Um, how to extend questions that are assertion and reason type. Assertion and reasoning questions actually needs a lot of practice because many times it's not about you need to know, like there are two things there. You might be able to use your common sense, you might be able to use your knowledge. So these, if when you are able to do all these things together, assertion and reasoning questions will go right, but you need a lot of practice for that. You need to practice a lot of mock tests. You need to see, what are the kind of assertions, what are the kind of reasonings you can make, and that's how you make a lot of changes. And I think this is not under the scope of this current orientation program, but still practice can help you with assertion. um, make notes for every chapter. Of course, I made. So yeah, somebody asked me, like I'm coming through the questions. Future plans, career-wise, academic-wise. Okay, so after my MPhil, right now my plan is working for my PhD. I mean, I wanted to do my PhD in clinical psychology, so I'll be going back to probably NIMHANS. So I have my JRF now. It's very easy to walk in because JRF, there will be a December quota only for JRF people in NIMHANS for PhD. So it's like we just give the exam. 50% of marks you need to acquire in PhD entrance, and your seat is there. If you acquire 50% of marks in NIMHANS PhD entrance, you will be able to get a seat for PhD. So that's what I'm saying. JRF will benefit you in such a way that your seat will 50% fixed over there. Yeah. So moving on, I have a question about share your study strategy. How many hours did you study? Did you make notes for every chapter? Okay, so as I already told you, I'm a very hard copy person. I make notes for every chapter. I make notes for every chapter. Exactly. So, I like what happened is that like when I go for exams, I already told you, right? More than auditory memory, visual memory, kinds of comes first, obviously. So when you make notes, when I go for exam, I know that, okay, this part, when some questions comes like, okay, I know that this part was in this part of my notebook. So I use a lot of colors. I use a lot of, like I have a little bit of attention issues. So due to which I make a lot of notes, and that's how it goes to my head. And I think it's not about, see, it's very customized. It's not like my study strategy would help you out, but still, I feel like you make a note about, your preparation. You take each syllabus, you make a note out of it. You start reading it, revise it again and again, go through previous question papers, and now it's very easy. Like you can get a lot of particular MCQs for each chapters. You can practice those kind of. It's not all the time you need to practice net JRF question booklets. There are a lot of other booklets, like UPSC booklets and all was very helpful for me for my MPhil preparation. And as I said, my JRF was like might be the upgradation of my MPhil. Yeah. And I completed my MA in clinical psychology, but I am not very confident in all the diagnostics tests. Of course, you can do MPhil. You are doing MPhil to learn all the psychological tests, right? I mean, not only the test, but also the therapy, assessment and therapy, and you get licensed as a clinical psychologist. You will have a RCI license, but NIMHANS actually is an autonomic body which does not need a license, but still we do apply because we need to come under RCI. That's all. And MPhil is a place where if you are interested in clinical field where you need to learn about assessments, you are good at therapy, you are good at communication, you are good at patient care. I think MPhil is a very good choice in clinical psychology. Is a very good choice. Does the difficulty change between June and December? I think okay. So I have cleared my JRF in June 2023 and December 2023. I think there was a cycle, but I think that last two cycles were comparatively very easier. But the peak, I mean, the cutoff was very high. But the question became very like I personally feel that the level of question of paper 2, especially psychology paper, became very simple. Yeah. Any other questions? If I qualify for the NET exam while studying PG, can I get the same value after the PG, or do I have to write the exam again? No. You see, that's what I'm saying. If you could pass your PG exam at least by 2 years of your completion of. So, for example, if you clear your NET today, and in 2 years' time you are able to complete your PG, then your NET is valid. But at least by 2 years, you should be able to complete your PG. For example, if you're clearing in June 2018, June 2023, then July, by August 2025, June 2025, you should be able to complete your PG. So most of the time we apply for PG, we apply for NET in the first years of PG, right? So in the first year, hello? Yeah. If I'm clearing JRF, will they provide stipend even I don't do MPhil or PhD? Okay, it's not like you will get JRF if you will get stipend under JRF if you're not doing your MPhil or PhD. It's not like that. They are giving you stipend for the research. So that is either for MPhil or for your PhD where you do your research work. Okay, it's not like you just randomly get paid your stipend without enrolling into any of the course. It's not like that, but there are a lot of other opportunities, like you can get into projects, like a lot of junior research fellowship projects they call upon, like you can get into a part of projects and you can get good jobs over there. Yeah, JRF projects being called. In that way, it will be helpful. Then can you cover the benefits of JRF again, please? A slide which had the pay benefits and all. Yeah, I can. So as I was saying, 37,000 is the per month they'll give for JRF with 2 years of house events. Like for example, in 14% in Bangalore mostly. So it's like 43,000 they might give you for JRF if I'm not wrong. And SRF it's like 41,000 plus HRA. So it goes like 58, 59 probably. Then yeah, so it's like 2 years you get JRF, that is 37,000 is the base pay, and after 2 years for the next 3 years, for example, after MPhil you have 3 years left, right? You can go for a PhD for SRF. In 6 months time you need to join, and you get 41,000 paid. Yeah, all JRF become SRF by default. It's not like all JRF become yeah, obviously after 2 years of your JRF degree, what happens is that you have to, like I think 6 months is allowed. In that 6 months you need to join for any other research degree where you can you can join your PhD, and you can switch to SRF. Or if you're directly doing a PhD without an MPhil, after 2 years it automatically by default become SRF. What happens if one cleared net JRF but unable to clear MPhil within 2 years? It doesn't matter. See, MPhil and net JRF doesn't matter. It's about just the PG, MSc. If you are able to clear your MA or MSc within 2 years of completing your net, that's all. That's not, related to your MPhil entrance. Is it compulsory to doing MPhil? No. It's not compulsory. See, I have cleared my, hello? I have cleared my, yeah. So I have cleared my, like MPhil without my JRF, and during the last month of my MPhil at NIMHANS, I have cleared my JRF. So that was a very good time for me to do my PhD. So right now it's very easy for me to get for my PhD. So it's not like, you should be able to, again, sorry, I lost the question. One second. I lost the question.
Hello, ma'am.
Yeah. I'm so sorry. I have lost the connection. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. You're audible.
Yeah, I'm so sorry for that. Okay, so what was I talking about? Can someone tell me what was the question? Oh, I think I've lost my chat. Yeah, I've lost my chat. Okay, can you, Sahil, can you just read me the questions, which is recent questions that I couldn't answer?
The question is, all JRF become SRF by default. I think
that is explained.
What happened if one cleared net JRF but unable to clear MPhil in 2 years? Yeah, I think it's already discussed. Is it compulsory to write net or JRF for doing MPhil in NIMHANS? I think it's clear.
No. Yeah.
Can you cover the benefits of JRF again? I think it's already discussed. I think which question? Does the difficulty change between June and December?
Okay, that's all cleared. Okay, I have a question here. Ma'am, right now you told about enrolling in PhD when you will enter SRF. Can you please give more clarity on that? Okay, let me tell you. See, if you have not used your JRF for your MPhil period, you can directly use that JRF for your PhD. Now I'll have, for example, I'm telling you, I haven't cleared my JRF during my PG time. I've cleared during my MPhil, end of MPhil time, so I couldn't use my JRF for my MPhil. So now I have my 5 years of JRF, SRF left. I haven't used JRF at all, right? So for my next 5 years of my PhD, I can use it. 5 years, literally I can use it. So in NIMHANS, it's like from 3 years to 5 years, we have to complete 3 to 7. Yeah, 7 years we have to complete your PhD. So 5 years, literally I can get this funding. But if suppose there are some few of my friends who got into JRF quota, due to which they have to use that JRF in the initial MPhil period, so they have used it for 2 years. They have used the MPhil, and now they have to kind of, in 6 months time, at least by 6 months time, they have to get into any PhD degree for them to take it to SRF. So now they'll get 2 years already used, right? For the next 3 years of their PhD degree, they'll get paid. That's all. So for JRF, SRF, altogether 5 years. If you have used for your MPhil, then next 3 years, balance 3 years SRF, by default you will get for your PhD, but you have to join in 6 months of time. That's all. I think I've cleared. Like, if you have any query, you can let me know. What should be the minimum amount of time one should spend in a day now to clear the NET exam during this December? It's very subjective. See, it's not about how much time you set. It's about, how much quality time you were able to give for your preparation. That's all. You just sit down, you see the syllabus, you will know your pace, right? How fast you can go, or how's your pace. Like, for example, there's only 20 units. So in this 20 units, if you want to give 5 days for each unit, you have a lot of time, I think. It's about your pace. It's not about my pace. It's about your pace. But still, I think you might be able to clear it. You see, that's how I studied. Like, if you would have seen my wall during my preparation period, oh my God, my mother used to say, like, I need to do a whitewash after that, because that's how I used to prepare. Like, I'll have a timetable. Okay, I'll give this much of time for this much of time for this much of time for this. And that's how I did my preparation. Yeah. And I'm so sorry, I don't know how to answer that question. We only have 3 years to enroll in MPhil or PhD after JRF. If we join in 3rd year, will I get funding only for 1 year? No. You will get funding for 3 years. You will get funding for JRF, SRF 5 years. It's just that your validity of JRF letter is 3 years. Within the 3 years, you need to join. Even at the last day of that 3 years also, if you join, you will get funding for next 5 years. For MPhil, PhD together. It's not like the other case. Yeah. Is there a minimum attempt for JRF? No, there is no minimum attempt for JRF. It's just that I think for general category, it's 30 years. Till 30 years, you can write for JRF. After that, you will not be allowed. For some relaxation will be there for 2 years and all that. Then you can see that in the website. And for OBC, SC, ST and all that, till 35 years, you can write. I found that my comprehension level is very low. Even though I'm studying repeatedly, what can I improve my comprehension? Comprehension level is very low. And how can I improve it? I think it's about, might be trying to understand the concept rather than just reading it. Because there are times like, I just read through or skim through, but I don't know what I've read. I'll just read it, but I don't really understand, what I've read. So, you read and you read for comprehending it is different. Might be you might have heard about Pomodoro technique, right? It's a study technique. Like, you study for 5 minutes and you give a break. Again, you continue it. You gave for 15 minutes and you gave a break. It's Pomodoro technique. You can just go through, Google it, and you can actually practice that. Will increase your study time. If you have a lot of difficulty sitting for studying for some amount of time, then use this Pomodoro technique. POMERADO, Pomodoro technique. You can get in Google. Like, they'll help you out with it. I have used the study technique at some point of time. Yeah. Any other questions? Do we have any other question? Very sorry to ask again. It's okay. Can you explain this? We only have 3 years to enroll in MPhD. We only have 3 years to enroll in MPhil or PhD after JRF. If we join in 3rd year, will I get funding? No, you will get funding for all the 5 years. It's not like, since just because you have you didn't use, your validity is only 1 year left that you will get. No, it's not like that. 3 years you have the validity. You can join any course in those 3 years of time, and you will get the entire funding for 5 years. For MPhil and PhD together. I think I'm making sense. Yeah, I think I've answered the question. Anything else? Anything else? Do we have any other question? Yeah, I have something here. Should I do MPhil or PhD? I said, if you are a clinical person, go for your MPhil. And if you are a PhD, like research academician, go for your PhD. And if you are both, go for your MPhil. After that, go for your PhD. That's what I'll say. it's about your passion. I can't take a decision, and I can't tell you like whether you should do a MPhil or PhD. It's about you. If you want to be a academician, go for your PhD. If you want to be a clinician as well as an academician, go for both. It's very personal opinion of mine. I'm sorry to say that. Your insights about SIDE. SIDE, yes. SIDE, I think Usmania University, if I'm not wrong, somewhere in Hyderabad, they do give SIDE. And SIDE is, it's mostly about clinical training rather than research. I think you get a doctorate after SIDE, but I'm not very aware of that. But it will not come to the level of MPhil. Always SIDE will stand a bit low, a bit under MPhil, because we get 1 year of intensive practice with that. And I'm not very sure. I don't want to make a mess here. Yeah, I'll have to read about it. You will not get ASEA license without MPhil. ASEA is for MPhil. Yeah.
I think almost the questions are answered.
Yeah.
If you have any doubts after this session, you can connect us, and we will connect to Hindu ma'am, and we will clear all the doubts. I think it's a time to winding up. Before the winding up, I need to talk about our coaching classes and all. IG is providing psychology UGC net coaching, and we are offering both paper 1 coaching as well and paper 2 classes. Paper 2 will be in live classes, and paper 1 will be in recorded classes. And we have both our mobile app platform as well as we have a web-based platform. You can use it in a laptop or a desktop, as well as we have a specialized Android application as well. But IG, our psychology PG entrance, psychology UGC net coaching provide ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്. പ്രധാനമായിട്ട് നമ്മൾ പേപ്പർ 1 പേപ്പർ 2 കൊടുക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. പേപ്പർ 2 നമുക്ക് മെയിൻ ആയിട്ട് വരുന്നത് ലൈവ് സെഷൻസുകളാണ്. നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഫാക്കൽറ്റീസിനോട് ഇതുപോലെ സൂം ആപ്ലിക്കേഷനിൽ തന്നെ ലൈവ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ക്ലാസ്സുകളാണ്. അപ്പൊ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഫാക്കൽറ്റീസിനോട് ഡയറക്ട്ലി നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഡൗട്ട്സുകൾ ചോദിക്കാനും അതോടെ തന്നെ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഇന്ററാക്ട് ചെയ്യാനും പറ്റുന്ന രൂപത്തിൽ തന്നെയാണ് നമ്മുടെ ക്ലാസ്സുകൾ വെച്ചിട്ടുള്ളത്. ഓരോ ലൈവ് ക്ലാസ്സുകളിലും നിങ്ങൾക്ക് നിശ്ചിതമായിട്ടുള്ള ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻസുകൾ എങ്ങനെയാണ് അത് സോൾവ് ചെയ്യുക എന്നുള്ളത് പറഞ്ഞു തരും. അതുപോലെ തന്നെ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് എന്തെങ്കിലും ഡൗട്ട്സോ കാര്യങ്ങളൊക്കെ ഉണ്ടെന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ സ്പോട്ടിൽ ക്ലിയർ ചെയ്യാൻ വിധമാണ് നമ്മൾ പേപ്പർ 2 ലൈവ് ക്ലാസ്സുകളാണ് വെച്ചിരിക്കുന്നത്. അതുപോലെ തന്നെ ഇത് കൂടാതെ ക്ലാസ്സുകൾ കൂടാതെ നമുക്ക് മെറ്റീരിയൽസുകൾ ഉണ്ടാവും. ഓരോ സബ്ജക്റ്റിന് വളരെ ഡീറ്റെയിൽ ആയിട്ട് പറഞ്ഞു പോകുന്ന രൂപത്തിൽ സ്റ്റഡി നോട്ട്സുകൾ ഉണ്ടാവും. അതുപോലെ മോക്ക് ടെസ്റ്റുകൾ, വ്യത്യസ്തമായിട്ടുള്ള മോക്ക് ടെസ്റ്റുകൾ IG പ്രൊവൈഡ് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ടാവും. ഓരോ സബ്ജക്റ്റിലും നമുക്ക് ഡെയിലി ടെസ്റ്റ് എന്നുള്ള ക്യാമ്പയിനിൽ ഓരോ ലൈവ് ക്ലാസ്സുകൾക്ക് ആ ക്ലാസ്സിനെ ബേസ് ചെയ്തിട്ടുള്ള ടെസ്റ്റുകൾ ഉണ്ടാവും. അതുകൂടാതെ നമുക്ക് സബ്ജക്ട് വൈസ് മോക്ക് ടെസ്റ്റുകൾ ഉണ്ടാവും, ഫൈനൽ മോക്ക് ടെസ്റ്റുകൾ ഉണ്ടാവും, പ്രീവിയസ് ഇയർ ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ പേപ്പർ മോക്ക് ടെസ്റ്റുകൾ ഉണ്ടാവും. ഇങ്ങനെ വ്യത്യസ്തമായിട്ടുള്ള മോക്ക് ടെസ്റ്റും കൂടി നമ്മുടെ ഈ കോച്ചിങ്ങിൽ ഉൾപ്പെടുത്തിയിട്ടുണ്ട്. ഇത് കൂടാതെ നമുക്ക് പ്രീവിയസ് ഇയർ സോൾവ്ഡ് പ്രീവിയസ് ഇയർ ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ പേപ്പേഴ്സുകൾ ഉണ്ട് ലാസ്റ്റ് 10 years. ഇത്രയും ആക്ടിവിറ്റീസുകളാണ് നമ്മൾ കോച്ചിങ്ങിൽ ഉൾപ്പെടുത്തിയിരിക്കുന്നത്. വൺ ഓഫ് ദ ഫാക്കൽറ്റീസ് വിൽ ബി ഹിന്ദ് മാം. നമ്മുടെ കോഡ് ഫാക്കൽറ്റി മെമ്പർ ആണ് ഹിന്ദ് മാം. അപ്പൊ മാം ഓൾറെഡി നിങ്ങളത് ഡിസ്കസ് ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ട്. വെരി ഫ്യൂ പെർസെന്റേജ് ആർ വിനിങ്. നമുക്ക് 6% മാത്രമാണ് നമുക്കൊരു ഈ നെറ്റ് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ നമുക്ക് ഇത് ക്രാക്ക് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റും. അതിൽ തന്നെ 1% ആൾക്കാർക്ക് മാത്രമാണ് നമുക്ക് JRF ഉണ്ടാവുക. ഈ നമുക്കൊരു 100 ആൾക്കാർ എഴുതുന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ വെറും 1 ആൾക്കാർക്ക് മാത്രമേ നമുക്ക് JRF കിട്ടുള്ളൂ. വെറും 6 ആൾക്കാർ നെറ്റ് കിട്ടുള്ളൂ. അപ്പൊ എത്ര ശതമാനമാണ് നമ്മുടെ കോമ്പറ്റീറ്റീവ് ലെവൽ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ നമുക്ക് മനസ്സിലാക്കാൻ പറ്റും. അപ്പൊ നമ്മുടെ കോച്ചിങ് നമ്മൾ നാളെ മുതൽ തന്നെ ക്ലാസ്സുകൾ സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്. ആദ്യത്തെ 5 ക്ലാസ്സുകൾ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ആദ്യത്തെ 5 ലൈവ് ക്ലാസ്സുകൾ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഫ്രീ ആയിട്ട് ഡെമോ ആയിട്ട് അറ്റൻഡ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റും. അപ്പൊ ഡെമോ ആയിട്ട് അറ്റൻഡ് ചെയ്യാൻ താല്പര്യമുള്ള കുട്ടികൾ നിങ്ങൾ രജിസ്റ്റർ ചെയ്യാൻ ഉപയോഗിച്ചിരിക്കുന്ന മൊബൈൽ നമ്പറിലേക്ക് നിങ്ങൾ മെസ്സേജ് ചെയ്താൽ മതി. ഇൻട്രസ്റ്റഡ് ആണ് എന്നുള്ള രൂപത്തിൽ നമ്മൾ അതിനുള്ള ക്ലാസ്സുകൾക്കുള്ള ലിങ്ക്സ് കാര്യങ്ങളൊക്കെ നമ്മൾ ഷെയർ ചെയ്യുന്നതായിരിക്കും. അപ്പൊ ഇൻട്രസ്റ്റഡ് ആണെന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് അതിനുള്ള ഫോം അയച്ചു തരും. അപ്പൊ രജിസ്റ്റർ ചെയ്യാൻ താല്പര്യമുള്ള കുട്ടികൾ എല്ലാവരും ആ മൊബൈൽ നമ്പറിലേക്ക് ഇൻട്രസ്റ്റഡ് ആണെന്ന് മെസ്സേജ് ചെയ്താൽ മതി. അപ്പോൾ രജിസ്റ്റർ ചെയ്ത കാൻഡിഡേറ്റ്സ് മാത്രമാണ് നമുക്ക് ഡെമോ ക്ലാസ്സുകൾക്ക് അറ്റൻഡ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുക. അപ്പൊ വൺസ് അഗൈൻ വെരി താങ്ക് യു സോ മച്ച് മാം. ഹാവ് എ വണ്ടർഫുൾ സെഷൻ. നമുക്ക് ഒരുപാട് ഡൗട്ട്സുകൾ നമ്മുടെ കുട്ടികൾക്ക് ക്ലിയർ ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റി. അതുപോലെ തന്നെ അവർക്ക് അവരുടെ അടുത്ത കരിയറിലേക്ക് ഒരു 1 hour ഈ ഒരു 1 hour കൊണ്ട് ഒരുപാട് ബെനിഫിറ്റഡ് ആവും എന്ന് തന്നെയാണ് ഞാൻ വിശ്വസിക്കുന്നത്. അപ്പൊ എന്തായാലും തീർച്ചയായിട്ടും നമുക്ക് ഈ ഒരു സെഷൻ കൊണ്ട് അവരുടെ UGC നെറ്റ് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ JRF ജേണിക്കും അതുപോലെ തന്നെ MPhil ജേണിക്കൊക്കെ ഒരു പുതുജീവൻ നമുക്ക് നൽകാൻ പറ്റി എന്നാണ് ഞാൻ വിശ്വസിക്കുന്നത്. തീർച്ചയായിട്ടും നമുക്ക് ഒരുപാട് റീജിയനിലുള്ള കുട്ടികളുണ്ട്. അപ്പൊ അവർക്കൊക്കെ ഈ ഒരു സെഷൻ യൂസ്ഫുൾ ആയിട്ടുണ്ടെന്നാണ് വിശ്വസിക്കുന്നത്. അപ്പോൾ വൺസ് അഗൈൻ താങ്ക് യു സോ മച്ച് ഫ്രം ദ ടീം ഹൈജി. അതുപോലെ തന്നെ നമ്മുടെ ഇന്ന് പാർട്ടിസിപ്പന്റ് ആയിട്ട് വന്നിരിക്കുന്ന ഓരോ കുട്ടികൾക്കും നമ്മൾ ഹൈജി ടീമിന്റെ വക താങ്ക് യു. അപ്പൊ ആർക്കെങ്കിലും ഇനി എന്തെങ്കിലും ഡൗട്ട്സ് ഉണ്ടെന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ചോദിക്കാം. യെസ്, ആർക്കെങ്കിലും എന്തെങ്കിലും ഡൗട്ട്സോ കാര്യങ്ങളൊക്കെ ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ചോദിക്കാം. നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ആർക്കെങ്കിലും റെക്കോർഡ് സെഷൻസ് വേണമെന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ നിങ്ങൾ ലേറ്റർ ഓൺ ആണ് നിങ്ങൾക്ക് വന്നിട്ട് നിങ്ങൾ ലേറ്റ് ആയിട്ടാണ് ജോയിൻ ചെയ്തതെന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ആ സെഷൻസിന്റെ റെക്കോർഡ്സ് കാര്യങ്ങളൊക്കെ അവൈലബിൾ ആയിരിക്കും. നിങ്ങൾ രജിസ്റ്റർ ചെയ്യാൻ ഉപയോഗിച്ചിരിക്കുന്ന നമ്പറിലേക്ക് ജസ്റ്റ് ഒരു മെസ്സേജ് ചെയ്താൽ മതിയാവും. അപ്പോൾ വൺസ് അഗൈൻ താങ്ക് യു സോ മച്ച് ഫോർ യുവർ ടൈം, വാല്യുബിൾ ടൈം ആൻഡ് ഇൻ എ ബിസി ഷെഡ്യൂൾ ആൻഡ് വി ഹാവ് ഗെറ്റ് ദ best time for your life. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, welcome.
I think all done. We can write it.
Yeah.